The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
The 16th point of forgery we've got is pairs of letters where you'll see ANs, 4 ANs, and the letters are all over the place. Even a pair like that should be in exactly the same location, and you've got them in different positions in that 6-point grid. Same thing with NI, ICs, OLs, ALs, TYs, the LULU in Honolulu, IAs and ITs. It's a joke. It's
right.
Pitiful. But one of the things, by the way, these errors were also on the forger's birth certificate. She did the same mistakes on hers.
Okay.
And on one other too. Oh yeah, she was really busy. The thing that was telling on both of them, it's in Exhibit 61, is Obama has 16 letters that have 2 different fonts. In other words, like they came from 2 different typewriters. A's, I's, F's, Y's, T's, E, L, S, H, N's, E's, capital E, capital I, capital K, capital U, capital H, capital A. 2 different versions of the same font from 2 different typewriters. It's 2 different type designs. On the L's, I've got 3. On the L's, I have 3. But the slanted H...
And that's figure 62, folks. I'm sorry, that's figure 62. If you're following along with us on the affidavit, that's figure 62,
that would be 65.
I believe. Or 65?
Figure 65. Sorry, you're right, 62. I was looking at paragraph. Figure 62 has the 16 letters. Yeah.
Yeah, and clearly done.
It's a joke.
Done. Wow.
Yeah, and I got a wrong width for a W, which means it was a pica. And another typeface showed up later, which was called pica, and that was 10 characters to an inch, or instead of 6 points, it was 7.2 points to each letter. And this thing, I think, is a pica W. So I grabbed the W from someplace and didn't think about sizing it right. So it didn't fit the 6-point matrix. It just, you see my point? It's just crazy.
Man. Okay. Would you ascribe this to incompetence? Now, this kind of stuff, the typeface, the wrong, improper width, is this due to incompetence, or is this
yes.
due to? Okay, all right, fair enough.
Incompetence, not an expert in it. She knew some things. She knew Photoshop, and she knew how to cover up the placement of letters that I'm showing you here that we got from the reporter's copy. She almost successfully covered up using JBig2 on the PDF, and I'll go through that later. But the slanted H was also on hers as well as on his birth certificate, and those are one of 4 or 5 things that the 2 of them are similar. There's another thing also I won't give away, but she did some other thing on placement that tied out with Obama's, which is outrageous. I mean, this is a real dummy. It's all I could say is a real stupid idiot.
Mr. Vogt, I got a question about that. We see a lot of people, me and my dad have talked about this, debated about this for months now on our show. We know that a lot of people say that the Obama and his administration is incompetent. At the same time, we say, they know exactly what they're doing. They're even making things appear that they're making themselves appear incompetent at times, knowing, precisely what they're doing and how they're doing it. Why would this be the exception to the rule? Is it A, that they knew it would not be looked at, or B, they didn't care, or C, they just didn't think it would get this much steam?
Answer would be, who is she writing? Who is she doing this for? The forger. Her audience is a bunch of lawyers and the people in the Department of Health. They're not experts at this stuff at all. Most of them are political appointees, and the lawyers don't know anything. I mean, all they've ever seen in the last 15 years is computer output from either laser printers, and before then was Daisy or line printers. They don't know about typewriters. They didn't know what they were looking at. They didn't know they had a bad copy. They hadn't. I don't know. I had one putting it. A lawyer friend of mine told me this. A criminal doesn't act. He may plan it over a couple of days, or within a few minutes. and he commits a crime. But an investigator has years to unravel it. So these criminals, they didn't know. They just wanted something to show the public. And all they wanted to show was the PDF. That's why the Obots and Dr. Conspiracy wanted to only focus on the PDF copy, which by the way, later he finally admitted you can't really rely on it for anything. But I mean, it's very simple. They didn't know. They didn't know that it was a bad one to begin with.
All right, and just so the listeners know out there, Doug Vogt has garnered the ire of these paid, and I call them paid shills, and just pounding on this guy.
They are. Many of them are paid. Yeah.
And one I noticed today. Every time I turn around, there's this guy, but using Dr. Conspiracy. I'm not even sure I know who he is, really what his real name is, but that aside, absolutely throwing baseless accusations, saying you don't know what you're talking about. On the other hand, you provide the evidence, the documentation, you provide the court.
Right.
Really, this is. And I looked at this, and I spent a lot of time looking at this. I wish I would have done this, okay? Because this, to me, this affidavit is really a masterpiece. It's put together so nicely. I would be proud to put my name on this. And now he kind of hammered you a little bit for a couple of spelling errors, or I don't know, maybe a comma in the wrong place here or there. Exactly. See some of the investigative reports I've read. Short of doing it in crayon. Anyway, I just have to say that I really believe that not only have you exposed the really this underbelly of corruption, this underbelly of this sinister plot, but I think you're also drawing out paid informants on the other side. And I think these people ought to be worried. If Dr. Conspiracy, if you're listening to this, but I'm talking, Doug Hagman, as a 30-year investigator, I think you ought to be worried, my friend, for your involvement and your actions. Look, I've been looking at this this file. I've been looking at this for really in earnest for I'll say 12 hours. You've had more time to look at this. You better be worried, my friend, Dr. Conspiracy. That's just my message from me, not from Doug Vogt. I can't speak for him, but from me.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.